It was about 70 years ago when a group of students, much like you and I, they saw the need to form an organization for and by the students of Southern University. Today, though things have changed a bit, we've progressed some, there is still indeed a great deal of work to be done. Good evening, Southern University. I am Armand Duncan, a junior business management and marketing double major from Alexandria, Louisiana. Vying to be your next Student Government Association president. It is beyond an honor for me to stand before you all this evening. And I could easily stand here this evening and do what so many have done before me and speak about my past experiences and accomplishments and pat myself on the back. Or even worse, I could stand here and bash my opponent. But I don't choose to do that. I don't choose to do any of that because this position, the change that Southern University needs, is much greater than that. I could go on and list the imperfections and the issues we have as a university. Problems that include a lack of transparency with our student government administrators, the conditions of our roads and our buildings, or even the feeling that the individual doesn't really count in this family that we call a Jaguar Nation. I could go on and recite these problems, and you know what? I could go sit right there in that chair. But I don't choose to do that. That solves nothing. We, the students of Southern University, we need change, and we need it now. The students of Southern University, we expect more, we need more, and we deserve more. We definitely need that. We need more than a recital of problems and promises. So please, stand with me, walk with me, and work with me all the way. Armand Duncan for your next Student Government Association president. Don't just vote, but vote for a change that you can believe in. Thank you.
A wise man once said, life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man. But soon or late, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. Jaguar Nation, I stand before you today once again as the man who not only thinks, but is absolutely sure that he can. I am Daryl E. Harris Jr., a rising senior secondary education major from Greenville, Mississippi, and I'm here today to explain to you how I have the hookup and how we will be living better. It's been far too long where students have felt uninvited and excluded when it comes to the second floor of the student union. My goal is to make SGA more transparent, to increase the student input, and to return the advocacy back to the student body. I have 3 simple solutions to these problems. I plan to implement a monthly newsletter letting students know when current SGA events are going on. I will also work closely with the vice president to ensure that the students know well in advance when Senate meetings are to take place. I will also work closely with my vice president to make sure that the minutes from previous Senate meetings are posted and issued out to students. Also, I will work closely with the class presidents and election board to keep my administration transparent. I believe that this will not only keep my administration transparent, but it will also allow students to feel fully involved and included in SGA. It has been far too long that students have not had a voice in the student government. And frankly, enough is enough. If I am elected SGA president, I will work with not only my cabinet, but also the student body and my class presidents to improve things like campus dining, campus housing, and working to improve campus parking. Finally, I will ride or die for the students of Southern University. The purpose of the Student Government Association is to be the student body advocate, not the administrative puppet. I plan to have an open door policy while being approachable and accessible to the student body, but also an advocate to the students we dealing with the administration. So on Friday, March 31st, vote me. Daryl Harris is your Student Government Association president, number 2 on the ballot, but the one for the job. And remember, I got the hookup.
Managing 3 business units, i.e. the 3 branches of government. How many budgets does the student government govern, and what are they used for? Also, how are you assured that the branches are operating as one cohesive unit? Mr. Harris first. How many budgets does the Student Government Association govern? What are they used for? And how are you assured that the 3 branches of government are operating as one cohesive unit?
What I can do to ensure that the 3 branches of government are operating as a cohesive unit is just making sure that all things that take place in SGA are public to the student body. I feel like a lot of times we have decision making where it's private and things like that, and we don't get to work with each other to operate as a full SGA with the executive, legislative, and judicial branch. I am not exactly sure how much the budget is allocated to each branch, but I am still learning the things I need to know as an SGA president, and so I do not have the answer to everything, but I can, and I'm a work in progress. Thank you.
Okay, do you know how many budgets they have?
That's 3, I'm assuming.
Okay. Mr. Duncan?
All right, Daryl.
Thank you for that question. And could you please restate the question that revolves around the branches working cohesively, please?
That question is simply, how are you assured that the branches are operating as one cohesive unit?
Okay, so I believe that the best way to make sure that each branch is working cohesively is constantly updating one another after each meeting, debriefing one another, and just being sure of all progress is being stated. And as far as the budgets are concerned, there are 2 main budgets. There's the operating budget and the concert budget. In addition to that, the student government oversees the 24-20 budget, somewhat with limited flexibility, as well as the all-purpose budget. Thank you.
Take that sip of water.
The second question is for both candidates. Candidates, to be SGA president, you must have discipline and good judgment. In December of last year, the current SGA president took to Twitter to address her critics. In one tweet, presumably directed at students and alumni, she used a derogatory term used to label members of the LGBT community. My question for both of you is this. In your opinion, should she have resigned? And what would you do if a member of your administration had a similar lapse in judgment? Mr. Duncan.
Thank you for that question. It's not necessarily my call to say she should have resigned. However, I do believe some discipline should have been taken, maybe even possibly being impeached possibly, but I do not think that that's acceptable for someone who leads the entire student body. Thank you.
Mr. Duncan, just the second part of the question. If something like this occurred in your administration, what would you do?
I would not be in a position where I would ever insult the students of Southern University. I represent each and every one of you lovely community. Thank you.
Mr. Harris.
Question, please.
The question is, in your opinion, should the current SGA president have resigned after her lapse in judgment? And if a member of your administration had made a similar lapse in judgment, what would you have done?
Okay, thank you for that question. First of all, I just want to say that I feel like every student. Well, first of all, we must not forget that we as student leaders, we are still human beings. And so a lot of times we can say things that we may not mean, or we may not mean in a derogatory way. Whether it was in a derogatory way or not, we're all human beings, we make mistakes. And I'm not saying what was said was right. And in no way am I supporting what was said, but what I am saying is you can't just impeach someone who, made a comment. And so let me express that, I got love for the straight, gay, whatever, your life is your life. However, you're really impeaching people over a tweet. Thank you for that question.
Mr. Harris, if a member of your administration had a similar lapse in judgment, what would you do?
If a member of my administration made a similar lapse in judgment, I would first not, just automatically kick them out of my administration because, like I said, we're human beings and we make mistakes. But I would talk to them and let them know that that is not a way a student leader should present themselves. We should represent everybody equally. So if you have anything targeted toward the LGBT community or anything, just keep certain comments to yourself.
Thank you. Your time has expired. I would like to pose this question to both candidates. What are your thoughts about last year's Senate vote, which approved that any candidate competing for a position in SGA must have completed 1 full year in an elected or appointed position prior to running for office? If opposed, would you be open to overturning the revisions made to the Constitution so that all students are eligible to participate? Mr. Duffy, you can go first.
Okay, so it's my firm belief that because all students of Southern University are full-time pay their fees because it's understood that they are students, they should have a chance. So if this rule is going to be in place, I believe as an alternative or a remedy to this judgment, students should be allowed to at least participate for cabinet positions with at least a 2.5 GPA. So they still have a chance to be in SGA. And I also believe Ms. Southern should be excluded because her work is not that of student government, but royal court. Thank you.
Can you please repeat your question?
Last year's Senate vote approved that any candidate competing for a position in SGA must have completed 1 full year in an elected or appointed position prior to running for office. Would you be open to overturning the revisions made to the Constitution so that all students are eligible to participate?
I would most definitely be open to overturning that because I feel like as students of Southern University, nobody should be told that they can't run for a position just because they didn't hold the previous position. You gotta start from somewhere. So I think it's I think it's a bad idea to have where you have to have an elected position to run for a top leader position because we have advisors. And so you have to give everybody a chance. And you got people who have had elected positions who still may not be a good student leader. Thank you.
The next question. This question is for both candidates. The relationship between student leaders and administration is an important one. However, many students and alumni complain that the relationships have gotten a little too cozy. At the expense of the independent judgment of SGA leaders. Now, both of you have been involved in SGA for several years. How can you assure this student body that you will be an independent representative for them and not a tool of the administration? Mr. Harris, this question is first for you.
Thank you for that question. On my platform, I expressed ride or die for the students. And like I said, I feel like SGA has sort of become an administrative puppet and instead of a student body advocate. And so in order to, delete that cozy relationship, I will make sure that I'm working with the students because it's the Student Government Association, not the Administrative Government Association. So making sure that I'm doing a good job as president and not on the second floor of the union 24/7.
Loud and clear, baby. Loud and clear.
Could you please restate that question?
The last portion of the question is how can you assure that you will be an independent representative for the student body and not a tool of the administration?
My answer to that is balance. I believe it is important to certainly work with the administration, but to know what you're there for, and that's for the service of the student body. It's great, you're gonna naturally forge some type of relationship with them because you work with them so often, but know where to draw the line. After 5 o'clock, unless you have to be there, don't be there. You need to be about the business of the students at all times. Thank you.
Okay, last and final question. Perception is reality, hence what we represent is generally who we are. Please explain the thought process and rationale behind your campaign theme and what's your reason you decided to run. Go for it.
All right, Daryl.
The reason I chose thank you for that question, by the way. The reason I chose my theme, I got the hookup, is because I feel like it's a very relatable theme, and I feel like I'm a very relatable person, and I got the hookup. That just means I got you. That means, like I said, I'm riding and dying for the students, not administration, and so I just want everybody to get a good feel of that, the urban kind of feel in the campus that we really are. And my reason for running for this position is the exact same reason I ran for freshman class president. I wanted to not only I'm a first generation college student, so I just wanted to show my little brothers and people, people from my neighborhood that not only can you branch out and go to college, but you can go to college and do great things and be a
All right, Daryl.
Thank you for that question. If you look at my push card, you'll see it says a change you can believe in, but if you look at it a little closer, you see that my name is hardly visible. And I have it that way for a reason. My name is important so you know who to elect, but also because that's not important. I chose a change you could believe in because I've been active in various organizations, not just student government, as well as heavily engaged with the students of this campus. And I want to marry those two things together to give the students of Southern University the best possible experience. So that's why I chose a change that you can believe in. Thank you.
If the candidates have any final remarks, they may speak now.
Once again, Jaguar Nation, my name is Daryl E. Harris Jr., and I am vying to serve as your Student Government Association president. I'm not standing here to portray myself as an angel or a politician or anything like that. I'm standing here to portray myself as a student advocate and somebody who can really lead and serve and be approachable to the student body. Thank you.
Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we're waiting for. We are the change that we seek. Those are my final words, and I just would like to ask humbly, as best I can, that you all will please put your trust in me to continue to work with and for you, the students of Southern University. So on Friday, elect Armand Duncan as your Student Government Association president. #1 on the ballot, and I pray your #1 choice. Thank you.